she said!
Let them eat cake.
Who took the bomb?
We're getting screwed, man. Every time we turn around, we're getting screwed. Oh, the revolution's going to be through podcasting for sure. That's the only way we talk. It's the little guys that take the brunt of everything. It's got to stop. Peasants, man. We're just peasants. Every one of us. You watch those old movies, you see the peasants in the background with the kings and queens walking around. We're those people. We're those people.
Good morning, peasants. Welcome to another episode of the Peasants' Perspectives.
Yes.
Ron's got the rock fingers up over there. Yes, we are live, ready to go. Let's see. We got anybody in the chats yet today?
Yeah.
You gotta click the button, Ron.
Oh, that.
Oh, good morning, Carleets. Good morning, y'all. Pray the Rosary Daily. Make it a good Wednesday for Razer. Good day from Boise. Glad you guys have all made it in. Man, yesterday was a weird day.
When you said something about the chats, I was like, of course they're in the chats. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you can't see them.
I can't see him. Oh, yesterday was a weird day. JD Vance was everywhere. He went on like The View. He went on Megyn Kelly. He went on Gutfeld. He went on maybe one other show.
Oh,
He was making a media tour yesterday. It was
okay.
wild. Yeah. So that was like the biggest news of the day yesterday, other than a couple funny things that Trump did.
I missed all that.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to miss, but it was fun. Anyways, I know why you guys pile in bright and early every single morning. Pony Boy, buenas mañanas. Welcome, welcome. You guys are here for the simultaneous sip. And all you need for that is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, a chalice, a stein, a canteen, jug, or flask, a vessel of any kind. And fill it with your favorite beverage. This morning, I like Diet Coke. And join me now for the unparalleled pleasure of the dopamine hit of the day, the thing that makes everything better. It's the simultaneous sip, and it starts right now. Oh, we're going to have to redo the simultaneous sip. Hold on just a second. Got to do the thing I do, make it so there's sound. What a pain. All right, here we go. The simultaneous sip, and it starts right now.
Are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation? Thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously. And we know from the history of this issue in the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So it's a big issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore.
And what's inflation? It sucks. Prices go up, and we take it seriously.
Are you old enough to remember?
Transitory.
Are you old enough to remember something called the Electric Company?
No.
Oh, this was like a Saturday morning on cartoon thing.
Okay.
And when you played this clip, that's what I thought of it. If you're old enough, you probably would identify with what I'm talking about. Your dad probably knows what I'm talking about.
The Electric Company?
Yeah.
And what, they just raise prices all the time?
No. It was a Saturday morning cartoon thing.
Okay.
You'd have to be a kid. But it was like a kid show.
Yeah.
That's what she was doing. It was like a kid show.
It's crazy.
It was like, hey kids, check it out. Power's, important. Come on, man.
What's inflation? Well,
yeah, exactly.
the prices of things go up. It's
Well,
the money
kids.
supply, bro. Dumb broad. It's the money supply.
Well, kids, when things go up in prices, they get more expensive, and we have to stretch, and we have to understand what that means. Okay, 5-year-olds, back to class.
It reminds me of John Madden. There's a guy that when he jumps, both feet come off the ground. Have you ever listened to some of the mad and funny bloopers or the funny things? Oh, it's stuff like that. There's a guy that when he runs fast, he goes quickly. There's a guy when he jumps, both feet come off the ground. It's like, okay. All right. So in kind of just goofy, funny news, because Donald Trump does everything kind of funny, he showed up at the G7 summit yesterday. What's the G7? It's the 7 largest economies in the world that get together and, plot the world economy. And he walks in and listen to this.
Hello, I'm the boss. How are you?
He just walks in and says, I'm the boss. Goes to sit down. Amongst prime ministers and presidents, I'm the boss.
Somebody with the meme coins needs to get out there and put the shades and the cigarette on that one.
Yeah, I'm the boss coins.
Like a boss.
John Attack and Saturday mornings used to teach each of us reading with the electric company.
Yeah.
Today, the electric company just teaches us about budget management. If you can even manage that budget. Oh man, it's pretty crazy. Donald Trump pulled what's that move in Star Trek? The Kobayashi move or whatever?
I don't
There's some
know.
move, like
You're asking the wrong guy. I got Star Wars and Star Trek mixed up.
I can't remember. It's the one that Spock works out. It's like and Captain Kirk. It's like the Kobayashi move where you have to sacrifice yourself to win, or something like that.
That sounds legit.
So Trump pulled a Kobayashi move. He's got the Save America Act, FISA, Bill Pulte over at ODNI, and Jay Clayton, who was going to get confirmed at ODNI. He got these moving pieces, and Donald Trump just figured out a way to play legislative politics with this stuff.
A major shakeup. President Trump has delayed today's Senate confirmation hearing for DNI nominee Jay Clayton. Trump says he's hitting the pause button until Jamie McDonald is approved to be U.S. attorney. This is all part of the president's push to get Congress to take action on the Save America Act, which is a voter ID bill. For the time being, Bill Pulte will remain as the acting director of national intelligence. The president posting, quote, I don't want to take Jay Clayton away from the great job he is doing until Jamie is in place. Therefore, to add a slight bit of intrigue, but for the good of the nation and the people of our country, I will not approve FISA without the Save America Act going along with it. In a major shakeup, President Trump.
I find this to be hilarious. Okay, so the FISA bill, apparently the deep state thinks they need it, right? Got to have FISA. We have to be able to spy on foreigners and maybe some of you. Maybe some of you to the tune of 300,000 queries on American citizens over the last few years. So they want to be able to spy. There's a small group of Democrats who think that this is a bad idea. And there's a small group of Republicans who think this is a bad idea. And between the two of them, there's enough to block the Save America Act along party lines. So this has to be a uniparty action. You've got to have some Democrats, the majority of the Republicans, that'll get FISA passed. It's a must-pass piece of legislation, but it's been being used as a barter chip. The Democrats know that the Republicans have to pass it because, the deep state bidders all want it. And so they've volunteered to have a couple people vote for it, but we got to hurry up with this Jay Clayton nomination because apparently Jay Clayton is enough deep state adjacent that he's better than Bill Pulte, who they're terrified at ODNI. And so there was this game that, okay, well, let's get Jay Clayton in, and then we're going to get Bill Pulte out and we'll pass FISA. The problem with that, of course, is Jay Clayton's coming from the Southern District of New York. And so Donald Trump would like to replace him with his attorney and not just some, office Democrat
some rando
promoted for the time being, and then watch the Democrats sit on that nomination and drag that thing out forever, right? Because Donald Trump still does not have all of his U.S. attorneys in place. So Donald Trump posted this. He said, Republicans agreed with Democrats to remove a very fair and talented William Pulte. This was the rush on the Jay Clayton nomination. This week, today, he was going to have a hearing. There's still people waiting 6 months to have their hearings, and suddenly you fast track Jay Clayton. So clearly, whatever Bill Pulte they think he's going to be doing over to ODNI, they're moving heaven and earth. They found some floor time, the key to the realm, to get him a nomination hearing. Right. However, Republicans moved so fast with the hearings, so they agreed to do that to keep William Pulte from serving as acting DNI in return for getting FISA approved by the Democrats. However, the Republicans moved so fast with the hearings of the great Jay Clayton, current U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, that Pulte would be gone before the Democrats would vote on FISA. Now the Democrats are saying they will vote against FISA. So now they're still using it as leverage. Now that Jay Clayton was like, check him off the list, they're like, oh, well, we still aren't comfortable with FISA. So the Republicans wound up having fulfilled their commitment, but the Democrats broke the deal. This has happened so many times.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some deal. Hey, we won't get rid of the filibuster, but you guys won't, right? Right? The Democrats are like, yeah, of course we won't. Be the first thing they do. In addition, the newly nominated U.S. Attorney Jamie McDonald must be confirmed and blue slipped, which means you have to have Democrat approval from New York. Who's this going to be? Schumer and Gillibrand. Blue slip approval. Democrats are often willing to nix it. I may not be able to get the if the Democrats don't nix it, I may not be able to get the extraordinary Sullivan and Cromwell partner Jamie approved, but I don't want to take Jay Clayton away from the great job he is doing until Jamie is in place. Therefore, to add a slight bit of intrigue, but for the good of the nation and the people of our country, I will not approve FISA without the Save America Act. So he's tying it in, going along with it. Not complicated, actually, for the Republicans, fell into a trap. Regarding the approval of our great patriot, Jay Clayton, we are canceling the Senate hearing today in response to DNI today will not be going forward until Jamie McDonald is approved to be the U.S. Attorney. In the meantime, Bill Pulte will remain as the acting director of national intelligence. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is Donald J. Trump. So Donald Trump is maneuvering these guys. I mean, well, I would love to see. Here's the way I view FISA. You know, I've already seen it. It's already come to my house. I've already had it applied against me. Right. So, you know, I mean, I'm already on the list. I figure if they want to surveil me, I'm on some list somewhere, and
sure,
you know, the FISA Act isn't going to save me. So it's kind of been baked into the cake, right? We've had FISA for a number of years now. So if they pass some extension on FISA, your life isn't going to change dramatically, you know, most likely. But passing the Save America Act, your life could change dramatically, right? This is how we take our country back, is things like fixing the election structure itself, eliminating mail-in ballots en masse, making sure there's voter identification to qualify, keeping the voter rolls clean. All of those things are a huge benefit. The other thing that is attached to the Save America Act is no boys and girls bathrooms. No transgender for all, as Donald Trump says. So he's really maneuvered that pretty well. I mean, he's like, FISA has to go with Save America Act. This puts the deep state in a weird spot. The tool that keeps us in power versus the tool that could get us out of power. You know, it's like these guys are absolutely in a pickle. So we'll see how it goes. Now, we know whatever Bill Pulte is doing over at ODNI has got the establishment, and we'll just call it deep state, in quite the flurry. Listen to Elizabeth Warren talk about Bill Pulte over at ODNI. And good morning, Doug Wyatt. Glad you made it.
The question of going forward expeditiously on Jay Clayton is a question about making sure that Mr. Pulte never sets foot inside the DNS building and never gets a look at all of our national security secrets. And I think that is a worthy goal. The question of going...
What are those national security secrets? What are those national security secrets that he can't take a look at? That is one of those clips where you go, what secrets do we have? Are we talking like the aliens and the reptilians, or are we talking like flat Earth, or are we talking like, you know, the Wiener laptop is sitting over at the ODNI? Like, what are we talking about here? He cannot look at America's secrets. So John Thune was on with Brett Baer on Fox News, and he was addressing kind of this whole Save America Act issue. And I'll tell you what, I don't get it, man. I don't understand how you have an issue that polls in the 70 to 80% with Democrats, high 80s to 90+% with Republicans, and yet they just can't seem to find the votes.
On conversations with him, how does this go over? Because the way he types it in his True Social posts, it's pretty aggressive. He thinks you should be doing more.
And he's passionate about it, and we are doing everything that we can, but it is a function of math. I mean, we are bound by arithmetic in the United States Senate. The votes currently aren't there. We will continue to put the Democrats on the record and insist on votes on this. But if you tried to attach it, for example, to FISA, it would tank FISA. And so, we will move, once we get Clayton done, we'll move to FISA, try to get the Democrat coalition back together so we can actually pass that and put it on the president's desk. But, and we will look for votes, additional opportunities to get votes on the SAVE Act.
What about housing? You've got a deal, potentially a buy.
We're going to try to put the Democrats on the record. We know they're going to vote against it. We want to know what Republicans are voting against it. How is it that you keep having these 50-person votes? It's like, why don't you pull JD Vance in to break the tie? Right? It's like, doesn't make any sense. Chantini, good morning. Welcome, welcome. So, he's acting like, well, we just don't have the arithmetic. You have the majority. What are we missing? Are you telling me these state Republicans that are absolutely adamant to get FISA passed? Because remember, the ones that want FISA passed are not the same ones that want the Save America Act passed. Like Representative Anna Paulina Luna is a vote no on FISA, but she's a vote yes on Save America Act. And Representative Mike Lee would be a vote no on FISA, and he's a vote yes on the Save America Act. So who are the Republicans that will vote yes on FISA, but no on Save America Act? Who are they? Right. And where does their loyalty lie more to? Clearly, the Save America Act is not a deep state initiative. Clearly. Right. However, FISA seems to be a deep state initiative. Like they can get some of these rhinos and middle of the road Democrats, these national security people, the neocons, whether it's the neocon Republican or the neo-liberal, right? They will vote for the FISA Act. So does Trump have them in a corner here? I wonder if there's a strong Democrat, like a Democrat that thinks that they might actually be able to win their district or their state. I wonder if any of them will break on the Save America Act. What do you think?
I have no idea about any of this. I'm so sorry.
I have my doubts that they're going to do anything. I just don't think they're going to budge. So in the same interview with Brett Baer, it continued.
Your relationship with the president is now. He seems to be working a lot with Speaker Johnson. How would you characterize it?
It's strong. It's good. I mean, we have our pointed conversations. I express my views. He expresses his. Sometimes those get a little bit testy and heated, but in the end, we have a job to do, and we have an alignment of incentives. There are times when, for reasons of how the Senate functions, the answer isn't always yes to the things that he wants to do, but we do everything we can to work constructively with him and his team to ensure that we are moving the country forward in a way that achieves those objectives.
Senator McConnell said your relationship.
Can you just remind me who this Thune character is? I'm sorry, I really don't pay attention.
I love it so much, Ron.
So I know that he's a Democrat, right? But
no, he's the Republican majority leader. He's got he's got Mitch McConnell's old job. Yeah, he's important. He's pretty important. Yeah, he runs the Senate.
Well, this is going to maybe even be more of a cogent comment then, because I get so confused when these people get up and start talking, and especially like this dude Thune. He's like, we don't have the numbers, but we're bound by math. What the hell are you talking about? Can you get more confusing?
Inflation is this thing where how are bills passed? 50% plus one, but sometimes we need 60. And sometimes we just need a nice circle jerk handshake. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and every now and then we just need, some incentives, like a bridge named after us, or, funding for our favorite wife's nonprofit. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, yeah, where are these people? The math doesn't work. You have 54 senators. You have enough.
The only thing that I'm really confused about right now is how come Chelsea Clinton doesn't have more power?
Oh, in other news, over to the Middle East. In the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz has been officially opened up, and even Iran got a tanker ship out yesterday.
First Iranian oil tanker crossing what had been a U.S. blockade line in the Strait of Hormuz today.
But major questions remain. Israel still vowing to defend against threats from Hezbollah in Lebanon, while Iran insists any lasting peace deal must include an Israeli withdrawal. President Trump today turning up the heat on Benjamin Netanyahu to keep the deal in place.
First Iranian oil tanker crossed.
God's Army Brett says, you are beyond FISA, but people should know how that works and how simply listening to you cover what is going on could affect them. I know it affects me. Basically, FISA, just don't assume any of your communications are private or secret. They're all being listened to. They're all being recorded and can be pulled back at their convenience to throw back in your face at some point. So, good news. Look at this, Ron, on the screen. Guess what oil prices are at?
Woo.
$76 a gallon.
Wow.
I remember in college watching the ticker on Fox News and watching oil up around $70, $80, $90 a gallon. And that was 20 years ago.
Yeah. And how much was gas per gallon?
Back then, it was like $2 a gallon.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was insane. I like left on my mission and gas was like $1.19, $1 a gallon.
Yeah.
I came back and it was $2. I was like, oh, that guy's crazy. And it stayed there.
I know, but it seems like though gas at $6 a gallon or whatever, it seems like a barrel of crude should be like $1,000.
You'd think. It's not. Anyway, $76. That's pretty significant. That is down quite a bit from where it was. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say we're okay. So when the war broke out, somewhere back here, we were at 65.
There we go.
Okay, and then we got all the way up to 111. We've been floating well above 80, 90, 100. And now we're back down to 74. 75.
That's so crazy.
So we'll see. I mean, what if we get back down to like the $58 price point?
That's so crazy how the price just doesn't go up over the decades. It's weird.
Actually, it was way more expensive back in 2022. Oh, look, when Biden was in office, $118 a barrel. Okay, so let's just go back in time here. So
max it out.
$71. This was midsummer 2021. So Biden had been in office. Okay, we can go. Oh, look, there's
look at that.
$40 a barrel. So let's see. Let's go to so January 20th, we're at $52 a barrel. Trump leaves office. Biden comes in, gets rid of the Keystone XL pipeline, and look at this run. We go all the way up to $107, $114 up.
Yeah, that Keystone pipeline didn't do anything, did it?
They never turned it on.
I know, but look at how the graph goes straight up.
At that, though, look at that. $119 a barrel, $115, $118, $119 a barrel. So even during this Iran conflict, we didn't peak that high. Even during this Iran conflict, we didn't peak that high. Man, I'll tell you what, the Democrats have no leg to stand on when they're talking about gasoline. They shoved that price point, which makes its way into everything. The cost of everything you have at the grocery store, everything you have at Walmart is affected by fuel prices. A lot of things are made out of petrochemicals, plastics and whatnot, rubbers. I know the cost for sewer pipe went up like quadruple during the Biden administration. Like our takeoffs for a septic system was $3,500, $3,800 in parts. It effectively doubled, if not almost tripled, for the same septic systems. But when you're buying hundreds of feet of HDPE, high density polyethylene polyurethane or whatever, right? Ethylene pipes, it's extremely expensive. It's like it's like directly related to oil prices. That's wow, pretty big deal. So people have been asking, is the Save America, or not the Save America Act, is the opening of the Strait of Hormuz and what's going on over there going to be lasting? And Donald Trump was asked about this. What if the Iranians don't play nice? Well, Donald Trump has been at least, if not consistent.
The text of the agreement now final, or are you still?
No, it's not final. It's a memorandum of understanding. And if I don't like it, we'll go back to shooting at them, dropping bombs on their head.
What do you expect the word?
If I don't like it, if they don't behave, we'll go right back to dropping bombs right smack in the middle of their head. Okay? Because they've misbehaved for 47 years. All right? But nobody could have made this deal. I mean, the JCPOA done by Obama, he handed him $1.7 billion in cash, gave him hundreds of millions of dollars, gave him billions and billions of dollars, but he gave him $1.7 billion in cash, green cash from banks, into a Boeing 757 and flew it into Iran. And they stood at the plane. I have pictures of it like, oh my God, look at this money he's giving us. He tried to bribe his way out. I didn't do that. Nobody mentions that. $1.7 billion and hundreds of millions of dollars. They tried to bribe their way out of it. And you know what the Iranians did? They laughed at Obama and they said he's a stupid son of a bitch.
I can't wait for when I'm sitting with my great grandkids and I've got some memory book of Donald Trump's presidency with all of his quotes. And we pull out this quote that's, written on nice thick paper with a nice, beautiful picture in the background. And it's
framed on your wall.
Donald Trump saying, if they don't do what I want, I'll stop dropping bombs on their heads. It's like, some of his, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I love it so much. He's going to have, when I go back and look at like Teddy Roosevelt quotes, look at this strong, progressive Teddy Roosevelt and look at, and he's got some quote, like the man in the arena or something like that. And we're going to come back and we're going to read these quotes from Trump and we're going to be like, he talked to certain world leaders like they were 2-year-olds.
You're fired.
You're fired. I'm the boss. I'm going to drop bombs on your head if they don't behave. Oh, I love it so much. Oh, man, that's a lot of fun. God's Army Brat says, and the Save America Act, isn't it Thune's job to get the numbers as R's and D's want this? And he is on Brett's show telling us exactly who he is. I know. Brett, Thune was like a McConnell. Trump just recently said Thune did a lot of work for Mitch McConnell. He was his lackey. He was his bag boy. And when Thune got the nod to be the leader of the Senate, he believes that McConnell has sabotaged Thune. McConnell, whatever he's got on Thune or relationship they have, has been leveraged to make it to Thune is kind of like, I don't have the numbers. He deflects to the parliamentarian. He won't expose who the Republicans are that are not wanting to go along with the Save America Act. And he's running cover for the Republican caucus. But at the same time, Trump seems to like him, but he thinks that Mitch McConnell is the dead weight. So I don't know, man. Like Mitch McConnell.
Maybe that's why I get confused about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been, for the most part, ineffective. I mean, he's given a couple fiery speeches. I don't know what more we have to do. You have to call a vote. You have to break the filibuster. Like, just let them do the filibuster. Just stand and talk until they capitulate. Like, these guys aren't going to keep going forever. Although, I don't know. The Democrats might be so afraid of actually, having to duke it out in an election in the marketplace of ideas and actually have to convince real living people that are going to show up and vote. They might be, they might actually run the filibuster and never stop talking. They might be so afraid of that. Who knows? One of my favorite quotes, he died like a dog. He died like a dog.
Mine too.
Yeah.
My favorite is what's his head's telling the story about it.
Yeah. Shane Gillis.
Yes.
Died like a dog.
Died like a dog.
Oh man. Let's see if I can find that really fast.
Oh shoot.
I bet I can. Ron, you want to read what's on the screen right there?
Oh, what is on the screen?
It's Sheriff Keith Swank.
Oh, let's check it out. I can't read that for sure.
Oh,
last night, the Pierce County, something. Can you read that?
Yeah, I can read it. Last night, the Pierce County Charter Review, so this is in Pierce County, Washington, this is the Tacoma area, voted to put Amendment C-1 on the ballot this November. This is an amendment to change the sheriff from an elected position to an appointed position. If it passes, the county executive will appoint the sheriff with county council approval.
No. We can't do this.
We didn't know was the commissioner, Justin Layton, a very rude and misogynistic man, would add an amendment to the amendment. This added amendment makes C-1 effective 1/1/27. At which time it will remove me from office with 2 years of my 4-year term still left. This is the equivalent of a recall without having to do any of the steps for a recall. Petition a judge that I committed malfeasance, gather signatures, put it on the ballot, etc. The Democrats and socialists on the Charter Review are saying, F you, voters. We don't care that you elected Swank. We are going to remove him from office. Have you had enough yet? I hope this pisses you off. If it does, you should show up in person or online tomorrow and tell the commission what you think. So if you're anywhere in the Pierce County area, you're affected by Pierce County politics, and he is your sheriff, please show up online. If possible, show up in person and let them know that you don't support this.
Yeah,
right?
This is not good.
At a base level, sheriffs should be elected.
Yeah.
This just kind of goes along with this theme. The Democrats, the socialists, the communists, they're trying to take away your elections.
Yeah, they're trying to consolidate power and wrap this into the rest of their power base. This is not good.
Yes. And the sheriff is your last line of defense. Remember, this goes back to the whole Magna Carta. One of the big changes when the barons held their knives to the king's throat was we are going to elect a sheriff that's whole purpose is to protect us from you.
Yeah, and we don't want a Republican sheriff either. We want an independent sheriff.
We just want a sheriff that understands he works for the people.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care what their party is.
Exactly.
Right? It doesn't have to be party politics. Enforce the law. Ron, what do we got?
Yeah, let's do this while you look up that other thing. Okay, you've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast, but it's not slowing down, and they're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls or interruptions, just cut the content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble's offering $10 off an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Pew!
Woohoo! All right, so we're going to take a little comedy break, and we're going to hear about dying like a dog as told by Shane Gillis.
It's the Trump speeches. Trump gave what I think was probably one of the greatest speeches of world leaders given. You know, it's got to be up there with like Churchill, Gettysburg Address. Anyway, for real though, it was my favorite speech I've ever seen a president give. It was the night the United States killed the leader of ISIS. Trump comes out of the Situation Room at like midnight in the White House, and he walks down that fucking tunnel like and gives a press conference like he's giving a post-game NBA just killed a guy press conference. He walks up in front of the entire world at midnight and just goes, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi is dead. He died like a dog. That's all him, dude. I didn't change one word of that. That's what he opened with. And then he did 40 minutes. The speech is 40 minutes. For no reason. It wasn't a prepared speech. He freestyled 40 straight. Not even a speech, just mean shit talk for 40. The meanest shit talk you've ever heard in front of the whole world. Shh, Abu. We can hear him crying. I said, Abu, don't cry. Let me tell you something. Abu cried. He cried quite a bit. I wouldn't have cried. Cry baby Baghdadi. That's what we were all calling it. Look. I love everything about that speech. I love thinking about Trump in the Situation Room, surrounded by generals watching watching special forces, watching those cocksucking Navy SEALs.
He died like a dog. Abu al-Baghdadi. I love that so much. Oh, yeah. Shane Gillis, he memorialized that for everybody. He just walks out. He just freestyles for 40 minutes. All right. So JD Vance really made the media. I mean, I was impressed. Apparently there's some serious media studios all within walking distance of each other. Like The View, Megyn Kelly, Gutfeld, and I think one other. I was like, he made his way onto 4 shows yesterday, like back to back. It was interesting over the day. And I'm not on X as much as you'd think I would be for preparing the show. But, you know, I scroll through it every now and then as the workday goes on. And it was just interesting. It's like, oh, he's on The View. Oh, he's on Megyn Kelly. Oh, he's on. It was just like clips popping up over and over again. We're going to watch a couple clips from The View. This is Ana Navarro trying to argue that Venezuela did not open up their prisons and jails to let people come to the United States. And JD Vance puts this to bed, right? I mean, she's trying to nuance one of these arguments into, well, you said something that's too generic to be true. It's like never say never, you know what I mean? Like never say always, because sometimes there's an exception when it doesn't happen, or never say never because sometimes it does happen. It's like one of those stupid things where it's like, come on, you understand what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can say always, and 99% of the time qualifies as always. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, lightning doesn't ever strike me.
Okay.
Knock on wood. You know, you said a false statement. Lightning might strike you. So that's kind of what this was.
I would say fundamentally that one of the things I underappreciated about Donald Trump is that so many of the things that people said about him weren't actually true. Again, you talk about humility. Okay. So I see Donald Trump, I see a clip of him, or I see not even a clip of him, but reporting about something that he said, and I take it at face value. For example, let's just go back to one of the most controversial things Donald Trump said during the first term that I was wrong during the first campaign is that I was led to believe by the stories. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists. He never said that. What he said is that the certain South American countries, Central American countries were releasing criminals into our country, including Mexico. By the way, that was objectively true. So it's not so much Christians.
Fidel Castro did that in 1980 with the Mariel boat lift. There have been many journalists, including CNN, where you used to work and be my colleague, that have tried to find evidence of that. There is no evidence that Maduro was releasing people from insane asylums or jails. Fidel Castro did do. This was made up, and we just can't, accept it without pushing back.
Anna, we know that there were people who were released from prisons who were encouraged to come into the United States.
It wasn't a Mariel, Mr. Vice President. It wasn't where it was like a purposeful release, open up the jails, open up the insane asylums, and let people flood Florida. I've been through that in Miami.
If you go, it may not have been like Mariel, but if you go back to the caravans that were happening in 22, 23, we know that those things were funded. They were in some ways supported by the government.
There was absolutely.
So I don't know how you define support or not support, but if people are encouraged to come into our country after having spent time in prison by their own governments, I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious. There's no evidence of that. Really? You should go spend some time in the chow hall at prison. There's plenty of evidence of that. Like these guys, this isn't their first rodeo in prison. In fact, they were very complimentary of the American prison system. They were like, oh, this is way better than Venezuela. How do you know? Oh, because I spent 5 years in prison in Venezuela. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. So he had another clip here where he's talking about affordability.
Decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote.
Okay. So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his on the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trump, I call it, and a White House cage match. All these things. Why is he doing them when you just, everybody knows that Americans are struggling? What is he spending all this money for?
Well, I got to defend the president on the hoax point. What the president said is the idea that Republicans caused the affordability problem is a hoax. And I think that's true. If you go back to the Biden administration, inflation got up to 9% under the Biden administration. Okay. Right now it's at 3.5%. By the way, too high. We're doing everything that we can to bring it back down to 2.5%, which is where most people would like to see it. But we inherited an affordability problem. We're doing a lot to make it better. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot more work to do. But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about it. And we've done some things and made some good progress on that point.
He just said he loves the inflation.
What he said, Anna, what he said is that he loves the fact that the inflation is going to come down when this war is over. That's what he said.
That's not what he said. That wasn't a direct. Are you his interpreter or are you his vice president? Come on.
Well, look. What the president said. People were asking about the inflation. They were asking about the affordability problem, which again is very real. And what he said is, "I love the inflation because it's going to come down when the war is over." And now, again, we already see gas prices today, $4.06 a gallon, too high, but way down from where they were just a couple of weeks ago. So there's a lot we got to do, but I think that we're doing as much as we can. We're going to keep on working at it. And again, the American people are going to make their verdict, but I think that we have a very credible case to run on, that we brought a lot of new investment. We're building the factories. That is going to pay serious dividends for the American people over the long haul.
When?
Well, Joy, if you look at manufacturing jobs, those jobs are increasing at a large number. Construction jobs are doing a little bit better. So what happens is the construction jobs to build the factories, and then the manufacturing workers go back to work. That also leads to rising wages. That's one of the things that I'm very proud of. Is if you look at the amount that wages are going up now compared to say 2022, they're going up way faster. That's a good thing. The affordability problem, again, gas, way too high right now. Certain things way too high. Rents have been either flat or down for 12 months now. So there are things that are showing signs of life, things that are showing signs of progress. My view, I'm sure you guys don't agree with it, is that we inherited a mess and we're fixing it. But but sometimes it takes a long time to fix a mess.
Sunny. Okay. Mr. Vice President, according to a new report from the New York Times.
So that's a pretty good take on affordability. And that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah.
Listen, we inherited a mess. Gas prices are way too high. Where were the Democrats saying that the last 4 years? Gas prices are way too high. They weren't anywhere. But then again, a lot of the Democrat states weren't gouging you with that extra $1 of gas tax, right? Because we got to keep our prices around $4 a gallon. So if gas is floating around $2.50, I think Washington State's $1.60 a gallon for gas taxes.
Oh yeah,
right?
At least.
It's really high. President Rosary Daly says, referring to Vance, he was on the 5 and Jessica Tarlov sounded like an idiot. Also on Hannity. Yeah, like I said, he made the rounds yesterday. So here's another one where he's talking about the mandates that they had when they got elected.
Well, I think that's ultimately up to the voters, right? I think voters have every right to expect as much as possible out of their elected representatives. We certainly know that we were elected on a number of mandates. One was to close the border, which I think we've done successfully, exceeded expectations there. Number 2 was to lower prices, and there's a lot of work to do, in large part because of what's happened over the last few months in the Middle East. But as you said, oil, which got up to $120 a barrel, now is at $80 a barrel. That's going to be reflected in lower fuel, lower food, lower energy prices. But there's a lot more work to do. The thing that I'm proudest about most, because as some of you may know, I grew up in one of these towns that was forgotten by the leaders in Washington of both parties, is that you're seeing, that's Middletown, Ohio. That's my hometown in southwestern Ohio. It was a proud steel town. I was raised by a grandfather who was a union steel worker, is that those jobs disappeared. Those factories closed down. The thing that I'm most excited about is you do see a large amount of capital investment coming into our country. Factories being built, construction jobs are way up, manufacturing jobs are starting to catch up. So there's a lot more work to do. I think that we're making progress, but ultimately we're going to make our pitch to the voters in November, and they're the ones who get to decide whether we've done a good job or not, and that's how they're going to vote.
I think that's ultimately have nothing on him. If you watch The View, if you're one of those random people out there that actually watch The View every day, having JD Vance on there, every clip I've seen of this, he's masterful. He takes what they say, validates it, and then addresses it appropriately to what they're actually trying to do to fix these problems. And it feels tangible. The way he's talking about this feels tangible. I think JD Vance is just one of the most gifted politicians and one of the most gifted communicators we have ever seen.
He's a good talker.
He's not like Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a wizard, as John Adams used to say. Build the wall. That phrase encapsulates everything. It encapsulates the immigration problem. It encapsulates the law enforcement problem. Build a wall.
And it's just a simple positive statement.
Exactly. Trump is the king of these little one sentence memes that put something into the zeitgeist that is, they're eating the cats and dogs. The immigrants. What immigrants? The Haitians they let in on temporary status. How many of them? 20,000. Where? Springfield, Ohio. How many people live in Springfield? Well, it used to be 40,000 people. They doubled the size of the city with Haitian immigrants. Yeah, and they're eating the cats and dogs in the parks, right? That one sentence leads you on a thought train that just opens up the whole problem. And the Democrats are like, well, they're not actually eating the dogs. And you're like, but they're eating the cats? Well, there's a little bit of evidence of that. It's like, you guys miss the whole meme.
Yeah.
They miss the whole meme. What JD Vance is, he deconstructs it so masterfully. One of the most gifted communicators we have ever had. The other thing that came up here was the Epstein stuff. And JD Vance on The View, in front of all these Democratic suburban ladies who are passing up on their soap operas to watch The View, right? They got to hear from the horse's mouth. Donald Trump and Epstein were kind of enemies.
Appreciate this, but one of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police. That's one of the things that came out of these
files. They were best friends for about a decade. And remember, he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Lauren Boebert, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
that's all true.
Let me respond to that. So number one is, yes, Donald Trump, and he said this, he knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports the story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to JeffreyEpstein's downfall. To that point, Anna, you know the Republican Party. Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
it was allegedly over a real estate deal that they got into a fight over.
But the email says actually
they didn't just know each other.
That whole real estate deal thing. That was one of the points of conflict they had between each other. Where it really got sour was when he threw him out of the club because he found out he was a creep. Like the real estate deal was actually over Mar-a-Lago. Epstein and Trump were both bidders on Mar-a-Lago. That happened way before he found out he was a creep. So when she's like, well, it's because of the real estate deal. Well, that's what soured their kind of not professional, but semi-professional, like
business
the door's always
relationship.
open opportunity. Yeah. But at that point, it just became, we'll never be business partners. But socially, we're both in Palm Beach. And it was when he found out he was a creep, threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And then, of course, that led to Trump talking to the police, which opened up the initial investigation. Trump wasn't in power then, right? The Acosta deal that he got was the Bush administration that pulled that off. And then, of course, it was continued to be covered up by the Obama and then Biden administrations. During Trump's first term is when Epstein got arrested the second time. And it led to his suicide?
Yeah, we forget all the convenience.
Yeah, led to his suicide? All right, let's continue here.
Just be truthful and transparent here. They didn't just know each other.
He's in a lot of
They were incredibly close friends.
He reported him to the police. That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objective.
It's interesting. They were incredibly close friends.
That's what besties do.
And Bill Clinton? And Bill Clinton?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Totally true. But Anna made another point that I think I would be if I may. Anna made a very important point. This question about, did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, you know the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
What was the bipartisan?
The guy walks into the G7 and goes, I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I don't think he's afraid of, Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham or anything like that. Like, it's not happening. Like, the idea that Trump is running around afraid of him is crazy. One of the other things that Scott Adams said about Donald Trump, aside from him being a wizard in general, was that Donald Trump is extremely good at using verbal incentives, right? He causes pain when you cross him, and he causes pleasure when you go along with him. He maximizes the two spectrums. If you're a problem for him, he unleashes the war dogs. He just verbally assaults you, puts you in a position where you're constantly on defense. If you go along with him, you're the greatest, you're amazing, I love you, right? He makes there's no middle ground.
Yeah.
On board or off board. And that is a very specific relationship management tool, right? It's no different than when you feed a dog a treat when he does a good thing, and then you give him a reprimand when he does a bad thing. It's the exact same thing. He uses it as a communication tool. And so a lot of pundits, right? This is the Tucker Carlsons, the Megyn Kellys, and others that have become critical of Trump. Trump unleashes on them. Low IQ, idiots, blah, blah, blah. And it takes away from their audience. They lose their base of support, right? It creates a lot of pain and criticism. Well, I was kind of a little surprised to see that JD Vance went on Megyn Kelly's show. But just like Scott Adams called it from observation, JD Vance sees on the inside that this is Trump's modus operandi.
I would make some point.
And then we're told, and I quote, those who speak ill of Mark Levin are not MAGA.
Well, the president, as he does, is pushing back at a criticism of yours that he thought was unfair.
Not just me. I mean, a lot of the non-interventionalists.
But I talked to him last night and I said, Mr. President, I'm going to go on Megyn Kelly's show and I'm going to defend the administration's policies. He said, absolutely. I love that. Because again,
good. Tell him he should do it next.
He engages and he's going to criticize you when he agrees or disagrees with you.
I don't mind his
He's going to say nice things about you when he agrees with you. But that's what I actually love about the president is he's not like viewing these debates from the outside. He's participating in them himself. And again, Megyn, the frustration that I've had with, the non-interventionist side has been that the attitude seems to be, we disagree with the president on this policy. Look, we can have that debate, but fine. Okay. You disagree with the president on this particular policy. That doesn't mean you can give up on the entire enterprise.
Yeah, no,
and the reason,
I agree with
Megyn,
that.
the reason why neocons are so much more effective in politics than the people on the other side in our coalition is because they play the game.
Play the game. That's pretty good. He sees it just like Scott Adams sees it. If you agree, he says nice things. If you disagree, he's going to say mean things.
Yeah.
So, decide if it's worth disagreeing with Donald Trump. There's a price to pay. God's Army says, how many do you think watch that? TDS is real and powerful, and the eating the cats and dogs should have started the conversation about people of other countries not having our values. I think it did for a lot of people. The Democrats, in fact, I think I wrote you about this. I think you probably published it, God's Army, in your Breakfast Club newsletter, but I talked about one of the biggest political miscalculations they had was making fun of the whole they're eating the cats and dogs thing, because it was a viral meme. You had a video of someone barbecuing a cat, and it became very obvious. Like, it led to a series of questions. Where are these people? Springfield, Ohio. Tell me about the town. 40,000 people. Who's doing this? 20,000 Haitian immigrants. Whoa. Anybody, if we suddenly had 125,000 foreigners dropped in our county right here, half the population, it would shock us to our core. Imagine being in Springfield, Ohio. And the thing that was so unique about Springfield, Ohio, there's a Springfield in every state. It's the every town, right? 1, 2, 3, anywhere USA. That is Springfield.
Well, that's why Bart Simpson lived in Springfield.
There's a Springfield in every state. Yeah. There's one around the corner from you right now, right? And so it was just the symbolism of that was incredible. And they totally botched that. They wanted to argue about the nuance. Well, they're eating the cats, but there's no evidence they're eating dogs. Wait, pump the brakes. Hold on. Who's eating what here? Right? It leads to questions. That one phrase and their criticism of it, even if you're trying to debunk him, you walk away going, okay, so the president was a little hyperbolic, but there's a problem in Springfield, Ohio. And there's probably a problem in Springfield in your town. What are you doing with the sound, Ron?
I'm trying to fix it. It just all of a sudden went whacked.
Oh, yeah. We were sounding okay for a second there.
Yeah.
Okay. Another little interesting tidbit. This is kind of adding on to the shows we've had that have been separate from this stream, talking about this scandal over Daryl Doggs here in Kitsap County.
Yeah. The
chief deputy auditor for Kitsap County didn't show up to work yesterday. His wife didn't show up to work. So there's more video that's been released of Alex Rosen at the door of Daryl Doggs, kind of in denial. And then as soon as he closes the door, he sits there and they have him on camera, just deleting. And Alex Rosen says through the door, that's not what an innocent person does. They don't stand there and just, blow their phone up like immediately, deleting everything they can. We have confirmed that BPD did take his phone and this is now an active investigation.
Okay.
And so other people are jumping in. So M. Adams from Adams Unchained, which, by the way, M. Adams, you have an open invitation to come on my show. Somebody needs to message him and let him know that I've been following him and sharing his information. But he's a local. He says developing. He called up 911, wanted to do or he emailed 911. Per multiple request searches were completed. This is what he got back from Kitsap 911. All events where Daryl Doggs or Leslie Doggs were the caller. All event comments mentioning Daryl Doggs or Leslie Doggs, and all events to 14. Well, that's the address. Okay. From these searches, they have located in the last 6 years, there have been 93 911 phone calls to 911 from the dogs.
What?
93 phone calls.
What? Hold on. I mean, that's a story right there.
Yeah.
What the hell are they calling 911 90 plus times for?
Now they've had 54 foster kids in and out of that house. I don't know the time frame of that, but kids be kids. Sometimes you got to call 911.
Okay.
I've called 911 a total of like 3 times in my life. Right. So, but in 6 years, 93 events seems that's like 20 times a year. That's calling them like every other week.
Is that like calling tech support? What's
Hey, my kid has a sliver. What do I do? I don't know. So anyways, sounds like there's some effort to kind of try to find out what those 911 phone calls were about.
Yeah.
So pretty interesting. So that's just a little tidbit. We're probably going to have more information on this story on Friday. There's some people out there doing quite a bit of digging, some friends of the show that want to kind of put this whole thing together completely. I got a message yesterday saying, this whole story has kind of gone into conspiracy mode. And why is that? Because it's not being reported by any mainstream media here in Kitsap County. The Sun hasn't run a story on it. None of the local papers have. Nobody's running any stories on this.
I wonder why that is.
It's going viral online, Kitsap County groups, the Alex Rosen videos and M. Adams videos, but the institutional media groups are not reporting on this at all.
Huh.
Which
That's
again,
crazy
go,
because isn't this normally like a hot topic item for most people? Most people care about kids, don't they?
Oh my gosh. If this was Phil Cook, the county assessor, who's a Republican, this story would be front page on the Kitsap Sun.
It'd be national news.
It'd be national news. But because it's a Democrat and, there's just no appetite to go after Democrats for any of their crimes,
We're going to have to force it national.
This is the result. Yeah, exactly. So more on that story. I kind of have realized going through this story that I don't know that I'm a journalist. I'm a pundit. I'm an opinion guy, right? I don't know that I really I don't know that I make the greatest reporter. I want to report on the conspiracy, which is probably appropriate that we label ourselves a conspiracy show. But as we've proven time and time again, some of our conspiracies are just the news a couple years early. Right? It's just the news a couple years early. Another interesting thing that happened yesterday, and we don't need to play this whole clip, but this was Brian Cole Jr. So he's the alleged pipe bomber who's been arrested. This is his lawyer. He came on Megyn Kelly's show. Now, remember, this story, when Steve Baker, who's really pointed the finger at someone else being the pipe bomber, he went and spoke with Megyn Kelly, and they didn't air the episode.
Oh.
They got the letters from the deep state law firms, do not air that episode. It's like, what is going on here? Well, the attorney for Brian Cole came on, and we'll just listen to a minute of this.
On that video, the bottom line as far as suspects are concerned, you had a law enforcement officer who failed 2 polygraph tests. And you probably read about this because it was part of some motion practice in the case. Simple questions. Are you the person on this video planning these devices? No, failed. There are other suspects, but I can't get too far into this because we're trying to figure out the different avenues and different suspects that were in this case and why those investigations were shut down. But to just say, here's a video, we have ping evidence from the cell phone, and we're 100% sure it's Brian Cole Jr. When you actually had other suspects, you're fighting us as far as revealing the information and documentation to examine that situation. We're far from determining and saying that was Brian Cole Jr.
The person to whom you are referring is Shawnee Kirkhoff. She was a Capitol Hill police officer on January 5th and 6th. She now works for the CIA.
That's right.
And we first learned from a motion you filed in this case in defense of Brian that she had allegedly been given a polygraph by the FBI and allegedly failed it, and had been investigated by the FBI even prior to Brian Cole.
That's right.
Coming on their radar. She was also named by the Blaze as somebody who may have done this pipe bomb.
I believe she sued him.
And so, so that's what I'm getting. I want to make sure we're super fair to Shawnee Kirkhoff. She's now sued the Blaze and Steve Baker, who's the reporter who wrote the piece. The Blaze has retracted the article. Steve Baker says he stands by the article. It has officially been, quote, debunked because the Blaze says they don't stand by it, and that the thing that's in there as their chief evidence against her is like gait analysis, like an analysis of how she walks, which is not scientific and that's not reliable in court. And Steve Baker has not produced the name of the person he claims he relied upon for that. However, Shawnee Kirkhoff, now she's filed this defamation lawsuit. In her complaint, she herself says, I was given a polygraph by the FBI and I was told that I failed it. So, I mean, we no longer have to rely on anybody other than Shawnee for this information. Now, in her complaint, she outlines how she alleges, she seems to be suggesting this was not a good poly because the examiner referred to some problems that he was having with the communication wires and was sending mixed messages to her. And that she was, of course, very nervous just being given a polygraph by the FBI. That'll all play out. But it is interesting that she's now admitting that she was on the FBI's radar and that she was told that she failed a polygraph. Now, the FBI says it's not her. They've moved on from her. They've closed the case on her. It was not Shawnee Kirkhoff, and that she has an alibi tape on which we can at least hear her voice dealing with her dog on the night in question when the bombs were being planted. So why are you still focused there?
This is what I'll say. I didn't mention her name, so you brought the name into the place. So I just want to make sure she doesn't think that I'm trying to, put her name out there. But the issue is not necessarily all the evidence that, for example, the gait analysis. Well, initially we were told the gait analysis was done and it pointed to our guy. So
who told you? The FBI said that, or
that's what they told us. They did a gait analysis.
Okay.
And that helped support their case for our guy.
Okay.
So now she's saying the gait analysis was off, and so now we're throwing the gait analysis out the window. My issue with Miss Kirkhoff is her name, right? Is, hey, look, there's other people out there that you all suspected, and that we're trying to figure it out as to why you closed those investigations and what's the evidence around it.
Let me ask you this. Would that typically be something you'd have access to? Like when the government goes investigating 3 other suspects before or around arresting the one suspect, is it usually fair game to have everything they know about that suspect?
Absolutely. Beyond a reasonable doubt exists for a reason. And the way you create reasonable doubt is to understand what other suspects were involved in the credibility of
persons of interest.
Yeah, persons of interest.
So they're definitely going to go down the route of basically saying there's possibly another criminal, and that creates doubt in Brian Cole. I'm full of doubt. Put me on the jury, boss. I'll go quit. I'm full of doubt on that one. I don't think I'd qualify. They probably won't let me on any jury.
I'm full of doubt that Shawnee didn't do it.
Yeah. I'm not ready to say Brian Cole's size 12 shoe did it. It is amazing. Shoe size doesn't match. Now, if you wear a size 12, let me know if you can squeeze into a size 9.
Yeah, he made a really good point there. Oh, how can we use the gait analysis if it's not a thing? And then, well, that's what they use to make.
Gait analysis pointed at your client. The gait analysis isn't accurate.
Right.
So
hold on.
No. And this is common. I found this amongst inmates all the time. It's like the stuff that convicted them needed it. Stuff that acquitted them, totally irrelevant. It's like, it's very convenient. Now, the FBI took a nice little victory lap yesterday because they thwarted a terror plot against the UFC, a drone terror plot. So, of course, we get some of the details yesterday as the statement of facts comes out. So listen to this. So this is from the court filings. During the interview, Thomas, who's one of the ones indicted, stated that he saw himself as the planner and advisor for the group. And while he was not willing to take action himself, wanted to guide and instruct others on how to carry out the attacks. Okay. Thomas expressed frustration that some members of the group seemed non-committal and used excuses as to why they could not take action, particularly with the planned attack on the UFC Freedom 250 event. Thomas said that the aim of, so basically you had this sounds to me so much like the Proud Boys, drinking buddies, talk a lot of crap online, but when it really boils down to it, they don't want to do anything but run security for Ann Coulter. You know what I mean? Like they're really not into it. Oh man, what a joke that is there. What a joke. So speaking of Antifa, so yesterday there was an indictment that was issued on 15 members of Antifa up in Minnesota.
Oh. Today, a federal indictment was unsealed, charging 15 defendants with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers and other charges related to efforts of 2 Minneapolis-based Antifa groups that violently opposed the enforcement of federal law in our state. Today, a federal indictment was unsealed.
Which for us, right, we think that that's just great. I want to show you something here that is a tactic that prosecutors use. And this is one of those things where I have very mixed feelings because I absolutely understand that Antifa and other violent groups out there not just say rhetoric, but they mean it. Mm-hmm. And what they mean with it can be very nefarious. Unfortunately, some of these platitudes, these catchphrases that get said, are shared with the libertarian people. Okay? They're shared with the libertarian people. And anything you say online can and will be taken out of context from the time you said it, and it will be applied in the worst possible way you can imagine. This is one of the reasons why I have kind of PTSD when it comes to like clipping the show and finding the most incendiary things that we say and highlighting that.
Right.
This is why I struggle with online posting and trolling, so to speak, is because what you think is a joke can be turned around and thrown against you. I will never forget sitting in my trial, watching the prosecution put up a fire emoji, it down, so burn it down, in response as I quote tweeted a post about with a picture of the District of Columbia with fires rising up above the city, smoke rising up above the city during the BLM riots. And it was the residents of DC that were lighting this city on fire, torching stuff in the streets, causing smoke to rise. And I quote tweeted, fire emoji, it down, burn it down, right? Now, what am I expressing? I'm expressing my frustration as an American citizen of the several 50 states and the frustration with the imperial capital and how that their governance doesn't seem to reflect appropriately out to the normal America. It's frustration with the politicians. It's frustration with the whole thing. Burn it down, right? Hyperbolic rhetoric. I'm far away. I can't burn it down, but I'm basically like, you reap what you sow. That's the sentiment.
So, but then people started calling you what, an arsonist?
Well, what happened was when I went to DC, they said, this is evidence that you always intended to come to DC and do harm.
Oh,
okay. And I was like, whoa, that's not what happened. So listen to this as the attorney reads out some of the statements that were made online. Now, I think that these guys meant what they meant, right? I tend to agree with the prosecution's assessment, but I want you to be very aware, everybody that listens to the show, you have to be really careful about how you write things. The details and the nuance gets lost.
You see here a Facebook post from one of the defendants, Cameron Kennedy, writing, quote, "We need to become ungovernable."
That right there.
Oh, boy.
How many times have we said that? Be ungovernable, right? And what are we saying? Be sovereign, have your own food storage, make your own job, create value, be ungovernable, be someone that they can't take things away from.
Self-reliant.
Be self-reliant. But if you just write be ungovernable, and you get caught up in one of these things, they'll take that and go, oh, look, you're against enforcement of the laws.
As the name suggests, Direct Action Minnesota is an organization dedicated to direct action against federal law and immigration enforcement. This action is not peaceful. It's obstructive, disruptive, and unlawful. The organization trains its members in the aggressive use of shields against law enforcement, surveillance, operational planning, and rapid mobilization against law enforcement actions. Though investigations are ongoing, what we know now is that Direct Action Minnesota is comprised of members of subgroups. For example, the Black Hat Workers Collective. The Black Hat Workers Collective is a Minneapolis-based Antifa affinity group which advocates, promotes, and utilizes militant tactics and violence. Here you can see that their Facebook cover page shows as a banner the burning down of the Minneapolis Police Department's 3rd precinct. One of the leaders of Direct Action Minnesota, Defendant Kyle Wagner, identifies himself as Antifa, and he doesn't shy away from it.
My name is Kyle. I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up. Okay? Go watch my other videos. Doesn't matter if you're not here and you're not caught up. You missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground. Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet. Show up ready to go. Okay? Not talking about peaceful protests anymore. We're not talking about having polite conversations anymore. I am talking specifically to my fucking followers. This is everything I have fucking talked about, and this is exactly what I said was going to happen. This is exactly what I said was going to fucking come when we didn't fucking go and march on fucking Whipple with guns. Sorry, but welcome to America 2026, where Second Amendment is the only thing that's going to keep you fucking protected from literal fucking Nazi gunmen that are killing innocent people in the street with impunity. This is not a fucking joke. There's nothing fun to chant about it. Get your fucking guns and stop these fucking people.
Yeesh.
So the sad thing about this, obviously, he went on to infiltrate the church with Don Lemon, and he was at a lot of these, stop Antifa or stop the stop ICE rallies. This is in his house. He's raging. I can't tell you how many J6ers had videos just like this.
Oh boy.
Right. They played clips of me walking to the Capitol and from the Capitol, giving my analysis to you, the listeners, what I thought would eventually be uploaded and made into clips and shared with my podcast audience. Maybe we'll bang the doors down. Okay. Hey, if the politicians had come outside, we would have killed them. I was saying there was a lot of rage in the crowd. If Nancy Pelosi had walked out there, she probably wouldn't have had a good day. Right. I said killed. Shouldn't have said killed. Should not have said killed. To me, it was a throwaway, rhetorical, of course we're not going to kill him, but, it'd have a rough day. Wrong of me to do.
Yeah.
Right. It'd be much more conscientious. So I saw that all the time. We have a lot of frustration with the system. Be very careful in how you articulate it and be very hesitant to record your rants. Right. This was something that happened to Guy Retfit. Super sad. His son wore a wire in the house and recorded his dad drinking, ranting about Nancy Pelosi and politics and the Capitol and the election. We could all do it, right? Just be careful. I'm not saying you need to censor your speech in any way, but always say it's rhetorical and throw some clarifiers in there so it's on the transcript. Because otherwise, I promise you, if political winds swing, you could find yourself having your worst moments repeated to you.
Mr. Cole's attorney, when he was like, "Oh, that gal, what's her name? That's her name, right?" Like he didn't know.
You brought her name up, not me. Like I don't need their heat. I'm already trying to defend Brian Cole Jr. But yeah, super, super interesting. All right, guys, it's time for us to jump over into private, and we'll see you over there. But we're going to leave you with this today. This is Senator Cynthia Lummis today. President Trump has signed an executive order in support of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. The legislation behind it: acquire 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years.
Woo.
The U.S. is either about to make the most important asset purchase in modern history, or Congress blinks. One of those things happens next. There is nothing but tailwinds for Bitcoin. Nothing but tailwinds, man. It's a huge opportunity for people right now. So can't encourage it enough. All right, we'll jump over to private. We'll talk to the rest of you guys tomorrow, and we'll see